Joining us in the studio this evening's attorney Alex Castro, who is the Pilipinas Ultimate Frisbee women's team captain. Alex, welcome to SportsCenter Philippines.
Thank you.
Alex, how did you get into Ultimate Frisbee, beach to be exact, no? And how did that start?
Actually, I only started playing beach ultimate, I think 3 years ago. I was invited to join this tournament in Boracay. It's called Boracay Open. It's an annual international beach ultimate tournament hosted by the Philippines. So a lot of countries, they go to the Philippines to be able to compete. The level of competition there is actually very high. And that was 3 years ago, that was my first time joining, and I just fell in love with it. I've been playing ultimate, but for the grass format for 10 years now. But beach ultimate is different in that, I don't know, it's just more fun to play on the beach. I mean, maybe it's the venue, it's the people, it's like the summer vacation vibe. But yeah, it's just more enjoyable for me.
Why did you choose Ultimate Frisbee as a sport?
Actually, I was invited, I mentioned 10 years ago. I came from basketball, and then when I went to UP, I was playing against these guys, and they invited me to try Ultimate Frisbee. They said that like the skills that I needed for the Ultimate Frisbee is kind of similar to basketball in a sense that like all the running and the jumping. And then I decided to try it out. And I realized that, yeah, it was really fun, and it was kind of similar to all the things I fell in love with basketball for.
You guys recently bagged the bronze in the Asian Oceanic Beach Ultimate Challenge. What was that experience like?
It was a really nice experience in that, well, first off, it was the first time the Philippines fielded a women's team for Beach Ultimate. So it was really an honor. The opportunity, we were really thankful for the opportunity because the entire campaign, when we decided to field a women's team, we decided that it was only about, not just about Ultimate, but about women empowerment. We wanted to be able to like inspire and encourage Filipino Ultimate players from all over the country to try the sport, and at least to make to give them the assurance that we have a future in this sport. So it was all about that. But when we got to Japan, we realized that, well, the Philippines is really, I don't know, like beach ultimate is very natural to us. So we realized that we really have a big future in the sport. So we're just really thankful for the opportunity. And yeah, we're really thankful that we were able to bring home the bronze for the Philippines.
So you're not only a super athlete and a leader when it comes to sports, but you're also an attorney. Describe the journey, that entire process. There were a lot of people who doubted you, who said a lot of things, but you pushed through. I mean, you're 20 hours per day, and you did that up till you passed. So what was the journey like, and what do you have to say to those people who doubted you?
Well, I think every law student knows how hard it is to be in law school. I was really difficult. I had to adjust from like college with everything being light. And I don't know, like in college, it seemed like you had so much time on your hands. But when we entered law school, like everything was different. The style of teaching was different. And even like you had to incorporate like a new technique for studying because everything was just heavier and the load was heavier. But actually, one thing that helped me throughout my life in law school and when I was reviewing for the bar was sports. That was one thing I couldn't give up when I was in law school because I found that it really helped me like manage my time properly because I knew like I had to train in the evening, so there was no time to cram or whatnot. So I really had to like a specific amount of time to study, and then it also like helped me like just maintain my health and just to be happy throughout law school because law school can be very depressing.
Right.
But I guess I get my endorphin fill from sports. Passing the bar, it was just really an honor. And I was just very happy because at least I was able to give that to my family, to the people who supported me. Because it didn't matter how many people doubted me. What mattered the most is that these people who really mattered to me believed in me and supported me all throughout.
So what were some of the major sacrifices that you've had to make to get to where you are? I mean, you've also coped with, of course, the long hours and then, manic depression and all of that. How did that work out?
Well, there are a lot of things I had to sacrifice. I remember for the first few years in law school, like it was really difficult to adjust because I was experiencing so many things. Like, of course, when I was in first year, the adjustment phase, like you didn't know how to study for law school. And then at that time, I remember because I'm bipolar type 2, So at that time, I had a depressive phase that lasted for a few months. So like I didn't know how to cope with it. And then I was also the chairperson of our university student council at that time. So I really didn't have the time for anything else. And I didn't have the time to break down or to like have a break or anything. But yeah, I think the most difficult thing that I had to give up when I was in first year was ultimate and sports because yeah, I just didn't have the time for it. But then when I was in second year, I realized that no, I can't do this because at that time, like I knew how happy the sport made me, and I think that was what was lacking when I was in first year. So I decided to go back and just if you love it, you'd find time for it. So I found time for it.
You were also lacking food, breakfast, to be exact. And
Yes.
you relied on Tai Dong, no, to give you your taho every morning. How did that relationship start? I mean, besides taho is great, right? But how did that relationship help you and serve as a crutch throughout law school?
I met Tatay Dong when I was in first year student in UP. Like I had a class in the math building. It was 7 a.m. and then I would go to school without eating anything, so I was hungry. And then just one morning, when I went out of the building, he was there, and then he offered me taho. So I got to chat with him a bit, and then he asked a few questions about my life, and then every morning I'd see him there, and then he'd give me taho.
Wow.
Until our relationship just developed, and then we grew closer. And then he was like there for me throughout my college life and even in law school. I was just this constant source of support throughout my life in UP, and that really mattered a lot to me because if it wasn't for him, I don't know how I would be able to cope with, like the stress in college and then law school.
What message could you give to those people who are currently struggling, who are currently grinding things out, who, may not have found the path yet? What message do you have for them? Is it get into sports? Is it work your hardest? I mean, what do you have to say having experienced everything you've experienced?
I think it's just, well, for one, hold on to the things that really matter to you and make you happy. For me, it was sports. I know it could be different for other people, but yeah, I mentioned earlier how big of a role sports played in my life. I mean, it literally saved my life. So I think for everyone, we just need to be able to find that, what makes us feel alive, what makes us happy, and just hold on to that because it's a very rare thing. But when we find it, like, yeah, it could really give you life. Second, we need to recognize the people who are there supporting us because it's one thing like I think most people take for granted these days. Like we have a lot of people there who love us, who support us, but we don't recognize them. But when we resort to them, if we really just thank them and be grateful for the love that they give us, then I think everything just gets better. And yeah, just keep in mind that everything will work out in the end. Just, remain hopeful and just keep on doing what you love doing. Just keep on pursuing your purpose, and then everything will fall into place eventually.
Great message. Thank you so much for joining us in Sports Center. Again, congratulations on the bronze. I'm sure the next time I interview you, it's going to be gold.
Hopefully in 2 years.
Definitely. And of course, thank you for joining us here on Sports Center. I'll see you again very soon.
Thank you.